Scott Brown here. You know, a lot of people say that moving load-bearing walls should be avoided because it's expensive, disruptive, and difficult. Honestly, it's not that hard. So load-bearing walls. This one here is the new load-bearing wall, or at least it's going to be the new load-bearing wall. The old one was over there. The props that used to support the roof were also going down to it, and we've since cut them. And now we've got these temporary pink ones here. Now what's the deal with them? We've got a hoarding there that we put up for the fireplace when we removed that. And that was to keep dust out of the rest of the house, but also to support this roof. So before we revisit this and put the props where they're meant to be, we've got some walls to build. So LVL is good in many ways. It comes around about 10% moisture content. It means it's dimensionally stable, it's not going to warp, it's not going to move. Now the way that the moisture content affects timber, well, affects normal timber, that pink stuff, you'll pick it up at 20%, you'll take it home, you'll frame the wall, you let it dry out. When it dries out, that's when it starts to go funny. It starts to follow the grain of, I guess, the tree that it used to be a part of. You kind of get away from that with LVL because you've got many different timbers here. So none of those grains are going to be strong enough to make the timber warp. It doesn't have enough moisture content in it anyway. And that's why it makes such good beams. For the same dimension of timber on an LVL, you can get a lot more strength than a regular piece of pine. Nice, straight wall. Well, it'll be nice when all the humidity changes happen, the inevitable humidity changes happen. And this frame's been here for a week or so. I won't have to plane it, I won't have to buzz it before I put the lining on.
You don't mark in between studs?
Whew, still struggling. What do you mean by that?
You don't sort of square it in?
No. You just go flush with the face and that does it pretty much. The Milwaukee is handling the LVL better. Tricks.
Tricks of the trade. Not my trick, Scott's trick.
Last two nogs that need to be cut for here, they kind of determine how straight this is going to be. So we're hard in at the top, hard in at the bottom. We've got a bit of a gap here, so if you, I'd say 3 mil.
Oh yeah.
Bit more. Yep, bit more. Yeah, that's straightened it.
Stupid me, I put it on the spot where the nog has to go.
But if you get the measurement, then as long as you cut the measurement right, we can just put it back in. You're basically using your end wall here as a hard point that this wall can be straightened off.
Okay, happy?
Yep. Things are going well. We've got our LVL wall frame up, nogs in. We're about to line it with plasterboard and effectively remove the need for the hoarding. The hoarding's a dust barrier and it holds up the ceiling. Now our wall is kind of doing that. Jib tip time.
Jib tip, jib tip.
Jib tip. I haven't seen this before, Ray. What's going on here?
In New Zealand we don't screw the center of the sheet, we glue it. So if we don't put a screw in, then the center of the sheet is not pushed against the stud. So these blocks, they push it onto it, and then when it's set you take the block off. You put a square of jib so that you get a larger pressure point instead of just the size of the screw head.
I like it, I like it.
So this is your sheet without any fixings in the middle, just glue. You see how that wobbles?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 3 mil on either side.
So that's where this comes in, eh?
This is where we have a little chip off cut.
Okay, so while this wall is taking most of the weight that's going to be transferred from the roof, it also needs a wing wall here. This wing wall forms the side of the laundry. And it also helps support some of these struts that come down. Now you may be thinking this is a lot of work for what is really a minor change. And is it worth going through the hoops of obtaining building consent for a simple wall like this? The thing is, we're doing lots of things that require consent, so this wall isn't really a big deal. The big one is the beam that goes all the way across the living area. On the existing layout we have this problem room that is behind me right here, and a beam sits on that problem room. We want the beam to go all the way to that wall there, and that's what this red line is. So we need consent for that. We need consent to block in this front door entry, turn it into cladding, and we're also affecting the cladding over here by introducing a French door where there is currently a window. This kitchen is actually not here right now, as you can see. It's going to be moved from behind you to here, and anytime you move plumbing services in a major way, you need to get building consent. The bathroom is another big one. We're introducing a shower, and you don't really need building consent to introduce a shower, but if it's a tiled shower with waterproofing, you need building consent. And we're also adding in another toilet. So by the time you add all these things up, taking out a fireplace and rebuilding a wall isn't that big a deal. See the black one?
What one?
The airbow?
Are you kidding me right now?
Okay.
That always makes me anxious, that click, even though I understand it. God.
Got it. So now that we have our walls up here, we just need to build props like these. We need to make it go to the new wall. The airbow manages to get in to the native timber. Here we go. There we go. That wasn't too difficult, was it? Although I am a builder, a qualified builder with experience, I've been doing this for years, so maybe it wasn't too hard for me.
Taking the fluff out.
You got a mask or something?
If I say yes, do you believe me?
So we've done the easy part really. Making that wall a load-bearing wall is pretty straightforward. But we've still got those roof struts on the other side that are going to where we're going to have a lintel. And that lintel isn't a load-bearing lintel. Other than the ceiling weight here, it's not meant to be taking the roof weight. It might be better to illustrate this with a drawing. So we've got this load-bearing wall here, and we've got the ceiling of the living room over here. Now over here where we want to put an opening into our laundry, we have ceiling joists coming in and meeting. And they used to meet on a wall here. And just to add to it, we've also got a roof strut coming down here, transferring the weight of the roof down to this point. So we've got to do something about that. Our solution so far has been to put a 6x2, a double 6x2 LVL through here with joist hangers, and then that will be going from wall to wall, the width of the laundry, which I think is a pretty good solution. But that means that this roof weight here will be going down onto a lintel, and then that lintel is load bearing. We don't really want to do that. So we want to transfer the roof weight to our new load bearing wall like that. Now just to add a complication, rather than cutting out all these ceiling joists down here to put this lintel in, we're thinking of raising the lintel so it's above the ceiling joist. That will save us so much work having to cut all this and move things for the ceiling joist to drop in. And then we could suspend the rafters off of this. So we're gonna draw a better sketch than this and send it to the architect and kind of talk about what we're thinking. In the meantime, Armando is gonna remove some cables that are in the way from doing any of this. We've got a real electrician here. How's it going there, Armando, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you think of our electrical
Sticker
knowledge in the last video?
was kind of.
What?
I didn't understand properly what's the explanation about the beeping.
Right.
Yeah, it was just an induction. We checked the connections for the hot water cylinder and was completely dead, no power at all. The fuse is blank.
And so the comments were right about the voltage reader. You guys call them something else?
Dead stick.
Deaf sticks. Yeah, that's what you actually call them. So while I've been renovating the house, Jess here has been renovating the garden.
And with an injured shoulder.
Yeah, how's that going?
Oh, I just have to do light weeding today.
Check all the spring flowers out.
This is under development. I don't know if any of you remember what this used to look like.
Oh yeah, I'll do it before. From that to this.
I'm really proud of this. This is probably semi-contributed to the sore shoulder.
I bet.
So we dug out all of the buxus, all of the weeds. I put my compost down that I've been working on for the last year. And I left this really beautiful ornamental little flower. And I just planted these.
So you're gonna plant anything else in here?
Well, I just grabbed a packet of flower seeds and kind of flung them in like a Disney princess in the hopes that they just sort of do their thing. Otherwise, I'll plant more stuff like this.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it, actually. I've never done any gardening until we got this place, so I think it looks pretty good. I'm feeling pretty proud of everything we've done so far.
Me too.